Hey everyone, how long is the home buying process? Well, let's find out. Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Berger with Alliance Real Estate. Thanks for joining me today and finding out how long is the home buying process. So let's get started. What is the first thing you need to do? You need to decide if you want to actually buy a home. So once you've made that decision, perfect. Now you need to find a great buyer's agent. I know some of you are thinking, why? Why do I need a real estate agent if I'm just buying? Well, first of all, they're free and they know the home buying process. So go out, find an agent. They are going to be the first and best line of defense for you. They're going to help you negotiate on pricing. They're going to help you know if the home that you want is worth the value that you want. There are so many reasons why you should get a buyer's agent. So after you find that perfect agent, find a trusted lender in your community. So your agent, your buyer's agent, is going to know who in your area does a good job, who's going to get you to closing with as little hiccups and problems as possible. So lender is also going to let you know what your limits are. They're going to let you know what your budget is, and they're going to be able to give you a pre-approval letter. A pre-approval letter lets other agents and sellers know that you have been approved for a certain limit and that you are capable of buying their home. So this is necessary if you want to put in an offer. You also want to talk to your lender about, how much your payments might be for whatever amount of home that you're buying. You may be approved for a home up to $400,000, $500,000, but if you're not comfortable with that monthly payment, you need to know that before getting into it. So always kind of try and find out, okay, great, I'm approved for this much, but how much is that payment going to be? Next step is to save up for a down payment, your closing costs, and your earnest money. So your down payment is going to be the amount needed by your lender for the loan program that you're getting. Each loan type is different. You can go with several different types, and that means that your percentage that you have to have down will be different as well. So you always want to talk to your lender about how much you're going to need down and save up for that amount. Closing costs, it does differ from lender to lender, so you want to find that out too. If you can't afford your down payment and your closing costs, sometimes you can ask for closing costs with your offer for a home and ask the sellers to pay for this. But in a seller's market, the seller isn't always going to want to do this. So just keep that in mind. And then your earnest money is something else you need to save for. I would say in the Bismarck, Mandan area, it's around $1,000. But I've seen a lot less, and I've seen much more. I've seen all the way up to $10,000. So it just depends on how aggressive you want to be with that. After you've saved up for your down payment, you know what your closing costs are, and you know how much you need for your earnest money, you can finally start looking for that house. Now, the reason I say that you should have all of these other things done before you start looking for a house is if you need, 5-10% down to get that house, you may find the perfect one, but if you can't afford to have that money down by the time closing rolls around, you can't get the house. So before you get let down and disappointed, stop, save up that money, and then start looking. Okay, we're looking for a house and you find the one. Now is the time to make an offer and negotiate. You're going to negotiate the price of the home. You're going to negotiate for your earnest money. And once you've come to terms and you have an agreeable contract, we'll submit that to your lender, let them know you're under contract, and get a home inspection set up. A home inspection is something I highly recommend. It does come with a deadline on our contract. You usually get 2, maybe 3 weeks to get that done. And again, after you get that report back, you can then renegotiate anything on that report that you feel like should be fixed or replaced before your comfortable with moving forward. Now, if the seller refuses to do something that you absolutely want done, you could submit a list of 20 things that you want done. That's kind of a high amount, but you could. And the seller says, well, I'll do 18 of them, but I'm not going to do 19 and 20. It's up to you then, the buyer, to decide whether you're okay with that or if you just can't live with that. If that's not okay with you, you can step back, you can remove your offer, get your earnest money back, and the only money you would be out is for that home inspection. If you are okay with the things that they are agreeing to do, you can move forward. So the next step is the appraisal. So sometimes people are saying that they should almost wait to order the appraisal until the home inspection is done to make sure that you know this is a home that you want to get. Now, if you get the appraisal done before you've come to terms on the home inspection, you're going to have to pay for that appraisal as well as the home inspection if you decide to back out of the contract. So sometimes a lender is going to ask you to wait to get that appraisal done until after the home inspection is already completed. The appraisal process can take several weeks. So from the point of going under contract to the point of closing, it's taking around 8 weeks. And a large part of that is because it's taking 4 to 6 weeks for the appraisal to get done. The appraisal is hired by the lender, and it is in place to make sure that when your lender is giving you money, that the house is in a good condition and that it does reach the value of what you're offering to pay for the house. The lender is not going to give you money if it doesn't appraise for that amount. So if, for instance, the house that you offered at was $300,000 and the appraiser comes back and says, well, I think it's only worth $290,000, then we have to go back and start renegotiating again. The seller can either lower the price to the $290,000, you can come to an agreement somewhere in between, or the seller can say, I'm not moving, I think it's worth this much money. If you want the house, you'll still have to pay the $300,000, which is what you've already asked me to pay. So if that's the case, anything over the $290,000 that you agree to would be something that you would have to have saved up and pay out of pocket for. So just keep that in mind. If you refuse to pay more than what it appraises for, that is completely fine as well. You would then back out of the contract, get your earnest money back, and you would just be out the money for the appraisal and the home inspection. So again, everything is kind of negotiable is what I say, and anything can kind of delay the process as well. So keep that in mind. While we're getting the home inspection and getting the appraisal, the lender is working with the underwriter, loan ready and prepared, and doing everything on that back end. Once they get to final underwriting and you get the clear to close, we are good to go. The closing gets scheduled with the title company. In this area, we do close at the title company more often than not. And we want to do a final walkthrough and check for any repairs that we've asked for, usually the day before or the day of closing, just to make sure that the house is in the same condition that when we bought it, or when we went under contract, I should say, and that the repairs that we asked for are done. We make sure that all of our utilities are transferred over. It's time for closing. We're going to go to that title company. We're going to bring our down payment money, our closing costs. We're going to get our earnest money back here at closing. And closing usually takes about an hour when the sellers are present. If they've already signed beforehand, just due to timeline, it maybe takes 30, 45 minutes at most. So after that, you've got yourself a new home. So congratulations. If you're ready to start looking, you've made that decision to buy, give me a call, let me know. I'd love to go over this process with you, see where you're at in the process, and we can kind of personalize it for you and find out how long you're going to need. But I would say on average, it's going to take, the 2 months just for closing the house and however long before that to save your money and find the perfect house. So it's all kind of, those two are the very big variables depending on where you are in your life. So